28th, 2026. Before we start, I'm going to read something just to let you know sort of the lay of the land here. Before we start the meeting this evening, I want to acknowledge the guests that we have from the community, and we appreciate the time that you've taken to join us tonight. Council and staff understand how much you care about these issues that are before us tonight, and we want to acknowledge you for your support, your community. And in the interest of ensuring the meeting runs smoothly this evening, I would like to remind you of a few rules of the chair or the mayor. Our council chambers has a capacity of 74 people as required by the Fire Code of Health and Safety purposes, which we must enforce. We have some security assistants here with us tonight just to monitor the crowd entering and exiting the building. We regret that not everyone is going to be able to fit in the building, and we wished it were different, but it's not. Delegations will receive 10 minutes maximum to present tonight, and then we'll open it up to questions. And once questions are started, then the time obviously just becomes what the time is. The chamber is also a place of respect for everyone, and we just hope that everyone remembers that it's not a football game, it's a council chamber, and there is a decorum that goes with that. So I didn't want to have to do that, but the other day I didn't do it, and I needed to do it, and I wished I had have done it, so I've done it now. With that being said, attendance has been taken. Councillor Howes is on the screen. He's at home. We have the second thing on our agenda is the land acknowledgement, and I believe Councillor Howes is going to do that. Councillor Howes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we gather, we acknowledge that we meet on the lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, Six Nations of the Grand River, and the traditional territory of the Attawandaronk. We remind ourselves that the County of Brant is situated on lands that are full of rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people today. We recognize the significance of their contributions to the past, present, and future of this land. As a county, we have a shared responsibility for the stewardship of the land on which we live and work, and a commitment to the truth and reconciliation calls to action. We commit to continue learning, reflecting on our past, and working in allyship. Thanks,
Councillor Howes. The third thing on our agenda is the approval of the agenda, noting that there's two addendums that you have in your package, 5.6 and 11.5. Councillor Chambers?
Yes, I just want to give the general manager a heads up under the councillors period. I'm going to be asking for a report on the volunteer fair that happened on the distant past.
Okay, that's
so great. There's your heads up.
Heads up, staff heads up. 5.2, I want a motion just to receive the agenda or the land acknowledgement, please. Councillor Pierce and Councillor Oakhill, thank you. All those in favor? And now we're back to the agenda again. So there's nothing else to be put on the agenda? The other thing we were going to do too is we're going to make a switch in the order of the agenda to put the two groups that are speaking on the same subject tonight together in the beginning. Is that okay? Need a vote for that. I need an motion. Councillor Oakhill, Councillor Haley, thank you. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Thank you. Number 4 on the agenda is the declaration of pecuniary interest. Does anyone have any that are obvious? If one crops up, please let me be the first person to know. And we'll go to number 5, which is our delegations. So the first thing on our agenda with delegations is Linda Guest. Linda Guest is a very good friend of mine that I've known for many, many years. And I don't know whether you people know it or not, but she was the Brant County representative to the Bell Homestead for over 20 years. She represented the county and she's just retired. So I'd like her to come up and get a certificate with our thanks. Okay, the second thing on the agenda for delegations is 5.2, which is Travis, if you want to come up. And Mark's coming up with you.
Oh, sure.
I've got you both down here.
Yep.
And again, if you could just give us your names and the organization that you represent, and you've got 10 minutes, and then we'll open it for questions.
Hello, everyone. My name is Travis Welch. I am the founder and board member of the Brant Civic Accountability Association.
Good evening. I'm Mark Dreamack. I'm a BCAA board member.
Good evening and thank you to members of the Brant City Council, Mayor Bailey, and county staff for the opportunity to address you this evening. BCA, so for people that weren't here for the A&O meeting on last Tuesday, BCA is a nonpartisan, not-for-profit civic organization representing residents of the County of Brant, the City of Brantford, focused on transparency, responsible planning, and informed public engagement. We would like to acknowledge the substantial turnout of residents from the County of Brant here this evening. The level of public interest is significant, with a full chamber and additional concerned residents gathered at nearby locations, including Stillwater's across the street, to follow these proceedings. The level of engagement reflects the importance of these matters before council and the community interest in ensuring that decisions are made through a transparent and accountable process. Our current focus includes matters related to the Brantford Municipal Airport lands, including potential boundary adjustments involving the City of Brantford and the County of Brant, as well as the proposed West Brant Access Road, formerly the OPRE, currently under the Ontario Environmental Assessment process. While both of these are significant infrastructure and planning matters, our delegation this evening is focused on the airport lands and the associated governance and process considerations. These matters will help shape the future of our communities, and it is important that we be considered through a clearly coordinated, transparent, and comprehensive review process. On April 21st, BCA concerns at the A&O committee meeting of Brant County Council regarding a process related to the Brantford Municipal Airport lands and potential boundary adjustments. At the time, Council unanimously supported a motion directing staff review. I'd like to acknowledge the Council staff here and appreciate the important decision it aligns with proper municipal governance practices. Our original presentation identified several key concerns with respect to process. Specifically, a motion was introduced to the airport board without a supporting staff report or documented staff consultation. The scope of potential boundary adjustments and affected lands was not clearly defined. The matter was advanced without comprehensive public consultation, and the process did not follow the standard sequence of municipal governance while staff analysis informs decision-making. These concerns were presented to support procedural fairness, transparency, and informed decision-making. Since that time, it is important to clarify that residents were informed by Brant County March of the appointment of a provincial facilitator prior to BCA's April 21st presentation. And prior to the direction of staff review of the Brant County Council, an approach that with proper municipal practices, while this information may have not been known, the process has continued to advance without waiting for completion of that review and without clearly defined scope or comprehensive public consultation. It is our understanding that the provincial facilitator is expected to provide recommendations by the end of June, advancing towards that timeline prior to the completion of staff review and meaningful public consultation. It risks preempting local decision-making. This is not about the appointment of a provincial facilitator. It is about ensuring that decisions affecting this community are not advanced through a process that has not been fully reviewed at a municipal level, and that such an appointment would not have been necessary had proper municipal governance processes been followed from the onset. This is precisely why clear direction from council is required at this time this evening. In addition, formal governance and ethical concerns have now been raised by multiple parties. Airport member in attendance today, member Daryl Casey, has resigned and submitted a formal complaint to the Ontario Ombudsman regarding governance, process, and ethical concerns. BCAA, through legal counsel, has also submitted a complaint raising serious related to process, transparency, governance, and ethics concerns. While these matters are currently under review, they raise significant questions regarding the integrity of the process to date and reinforce the need to ensure that no further decisions or actions are advanced until proper municipal transparency and accountability are fully upheld. Council has already recognized the need for staff review. Again, greatly appreciated. The purpose of this resolution is to ensure that no further advancement occurs before review is complete and that Council's direction is respected. To support the direction already provided by Council, BCAA respectfully requests that Brant County Council pass a formal resolution this evening, expressing a concern with the appointment of a provincial facilitator in the absence of formal staff, defined scope, comprehensive public consultation, consistent with the standard municipal governance practices under the Municipal Act. Requesting that any further advancement of these matters related to the Brantford Municipal Airport lands, including potential boundary adjustments, be paused until after the October 2026 municipal election. Affirming that these matters should be addressed through intermunicipal dialogue between the City of Brantford and the County of Brant, led by newly elected council and mayors with full transparency and public engagement, and requesting that the province defer reliance on the province facilitator process and respect local municipal planning processes until staff is complete and public consultation has occurred. In closing, given that this process is underway since March, that is expected to advance toward a provincial facilitator recommendation in June, and that formal governance and ethics concerns have now been raised, we believe it is both reasonable and necessary for Council to provide clear direction at this time. Allowing this matter to proceed towards a provincial facilitator recommendation would effectively move decisions forward before the Council's review is complete and before newly elected Council has an opportunity to engage. The request is not intended to delay progress, but to ensure that decisions of significance are made through a process that is transparent, informed, and accountable to the residents. Taking this step will reinforce confidence and support sound municipal governance. Thank you for this time and your consideration.
Okay, nothing else? Okay, you didn't use your 10 minutes, but that's great. Council, first of all, can I get it on the floor, please? Councillor Oakley and Councillor Bell for a discussion. Questions for the delegation? Councillor Haley.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. Have you been able to make the same presentation to Brantford Council?
Unfortunately, until an airport item is listed on the Brantford City agenda, we are not able to delegate. So we hope that ultimately an agenda item related to this situation is listed on an agenda very soon with Brantford City Council, and BCAA will be delegating at that time.
So just a follow-up question. When would the minutes of the airport committee come to Brantford Council?
Sorry?
When would the minutes of the airport committee come to Brantford Council?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but I will find that information out, I would assume very soon, since the last airport board meeting was on April 20th.
Okay, and I have one more follow-up, sorry. Have you approached Bauma?
We are in the process of having discussions with Will Bauma under this consideration. It is unfortunate that we have an MPP that resides in Brant County that ultimately, in my opinion, is forwarding and for this potential annexation of over 3,500 acres of county land without public consultation and without Brant County resident implementation. It's unfortunate.
Ella?
Sorry, I have one more follow-up. I know you and I had a conversation, and I'm just wondering where you're getting your acreage from, that you quote, the acreage.
The acreage, it's to my understanding that this annexation has got more to do than the airport board, and ultimately, sorry, my understanding, this has got more to do than just the airport. This is ultimately about acquiring lands through the airport council motion. It was not clearly defined on what those boundaries are. It is my understanding on a provincial level that this is something that would be more acquisition than other than the airport.
Okay, if I could just clarify, my question was, what is your source of information for the acreage? Because I don't understand that that's the acreage, so I wonder what your source of information is.
So my understanding at this point in time, this is my personal opinion through BCAA as a board member, that this is more than just the airport. This is an understanding that my feelings, and this is my personal opinion at this time until more information is publicly announced, that ultimately this is more than just the airport. There is going to be, in my opinion, through BCAA as a board member, there is going to be an annexation of substantial lands from the county. That is my opinion at this time.
Okay, I've just never seen that figure before, so that's why I was asking you.
Yeah. Councillor Bell?
Hey, Mr. Mayor, through you to our delegation. Travis, you used the words staff review a couple of times.
Correct.
What was your expectation of a staff review?
So through municipal governance standards, in my previous presentation on the A&O meeting, we laid out specifically what those governance standards are through Municipal Act. Ultimately, there is a staff review that ultimately should be completed before something goes to council. With the airport board vote, there was no staff review that was presented to Brantford City Council for review prior to that vote to appointing a provincial facilitator. I do not know in the history of the province through municipalities where something of this nature, of this magnitude, would not consider staff review, such as graciously the Brant City Council did through our A&O meeting of something of this magnitude before it's presented to council. Unfortunately, the airport board did not follow the Municipal Act and provide that staff consultation to Brantford City Council.
Thank you. Just to get clarity about your expectations of what your presentation at the A&O meeting would do. Yes, I'm looking at the minutes. The minutes say that the delegation from yourselves be received as information and that the delegation be referred to staff, and it was referred to staff, and our staff are engaged in that conversation with the city and the provincial facilitator. Were you expecting more than that?
Yes. Today, BCAA is expecting the resolution that was laid out and printed out in front of you today to pass a motion to agree to that resolution.
More questions? Before we go back to you, Ella, let's see if there's any. Councillor Oakley?
Yeah, through Ms. Mayor to the delegation, just sort of pulling on a thread from Councillor Haley earlier, you were saying, so you can't make a delegation to City of Brantford Council until something related to this comes on the council agenda. I'm just curious if you've reached out to any of their councillors individually, because if they brought forward a motion, resolution, something along those lines related to this, then you would be able to come as a delegation because it would be on the agenda. So I'm just curious if you've reached out to any of their councillors to move in that direction, perhaps.
Councillor Oakley, I appreciate the question, and it's a valid question. Unfortunately, the sitting and existing council with the City of Brantford would not allow that motion to be passed, with the exception, in my opinion, of one or two individuals. So at this point, because this is such a very large, significant topic, we are waiting for this appointment on the agenda. We're ultimately, there will be some council that ultimately will motion BCA's delegation.
Thank you.
Any other? Back to Councillor Haley.
Through you. I care very much about the Oakhill community and about protecting land. And I was very involved with the annexation when Brantford took all of the land. That was one of the largest annexations of prime farmland in Southern Ontario in recent history.
Agreed.
Brantford has more than enough land. It got a big chunk of land then. It had all kinds of consultation, packed meetings, all kinds of consultation. So first of all, my question, and I know you can't answer it, but why does Brantford need any more land? That's my one question, and I'm just posing it out there. And the other thing is that I fully support that there be public consultation and that you slow this train down.
I appreciate your insight and your comments. One comment that I would like to make is, BCAA has been formed not only to represent county residents, but also city residents. And, we are entering lame duck status in a matter of 90 days from now, a little bit over 90 days from now, as of August 1st. A decision of this magnitude is extremely important that it gets deferred to newly elected mayors and council, so that they have the 4 years to make a big, major infrastructure decision on what's tied to this. Respectfully to the citizens of Brantford, where Brantford stands right now, again, this is my opinion. Brantford's got a lot of problems that they need to figure out on their own. We've got a major issue in the downtown core in regards to revitalization. We have a huge homeless crisis in the city of Brantford. We have an opioid crisis in the city of Brantford right now. They have a lot of problems they need to figure out themselves before worrying about taking county land.
Any other comments, council? No? I have something to say. You threw out a couple of figures of just the airport land itself, and I sit on that board, and I was the only vote that voted, obviously, against it. You're kind of preaching to the choir here. We get it, and we don't want any of this to happen. But we also have a process, and the process said to take the decisions away from the mayors, which was Mayor Davis and myself. And as the head of council, that means my council too, and give it to the staff, give it to COs and staff. And we do have a delegation of our staff that are, and they have a process that they're in the middle of right now. And I think we have to be very, very careful that we don't undermine everything that they've got started and that they've got going as a council, because we did make that decision to take the mayors and council out of it all. I'm very interested to find out who your source is too, because some of these things we heard in camera and we're not allowed, we've been muzzled. So to hear you speak of numbers that I'm not sure where you got them, but you didn't get them from anyone around this horseshoe. But they sound a little bit familiar. But there's two different items here. There's the airport, which is, in my opinion, a disaster. And then there's this big, what you're talking about, this big land grab, which is another issue. And I think we're trying to separate those. I think that's what they're trying to do. I don't know exactly why. I think they're trying to have the airport fall to the city during this term of council and put it on my shoulders and have it as a sort of maybe a victory lap for Mayor Davis, but I don't see it as a victory lap at all. But I do see it as two things that have to be separated, because we're not supposed to be talking about that big number, because that big number hasn't been released to the people yet. And so it's obviously a breach in the city's in-camera process, I guess. You couldn't have pulled that out of your pocket. So you've heard it from someone.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
All right. Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think for the benefit of anybody in the audience here and people listening, it might be helpful if our CAO described what the process is that we are following and why we are following that process, and to touch on public consultation as a part of that journey.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Through your worship to council. So I'll start by saying that I acknowledge there's been a lot of anomalies in this process that we would have preferred did not happen. This process was initiated by the city. They petitioned the province, and we were told that there was a facilitator assigned, and we could participate in the process. At that time, it wasn't a matter of, are you willing to begin this process? It's a matter of, the process is happening, would you like to participate? In other words, the process is going to continue whether we withdraw from it or not. So council made the decision at that time to have a seat at the table, so to speak, in these negotiations, and see where that leads us. And we did make it known that we were not happy about the accelerated timeline. But again, that was given to us. That was not part of what we negotiated or willingly entered into. Where it sits right now in terms of the negotiations and the timeline is the anticipation is that there is going to be public consultation led by the City of Brantford the beginning of June. The first week of June is maybe the end of May. That would be the earliest, but beginning of June. So again, that is the process that we have been given by the province, and it's something that we've been participating in. As we said, we would do so in good faith and see where that takes us. At this point, there have been no concessions made in terms of either boundary or compensation or really any details of it's just been discussion about what the city may want and what we may be willing to discuss, but there have been no concessions made at this time. So again, according to the province, they plan to have public consultation within the next month, give or take. That is the timeline we've been given, and again, that's subject to council review and council revision if you'd like to do so.
If I could just follow up on that, could you just say why, Alison, that it is the City of Brantford that would engage in that public consultation and not the County of Brant?
Through your worship to Councillor Bell. So we would certainly participate, we would be in attendance, but because they are the petitioner, so the City of Brantford is the petitioner for this process. The County of Brant was not involved in the petition, nor did we begin the process. So we can't speak to the process of public consultation because it's not something that we have initiated or said we wanted. So typically when we would do public consultation, we're explaining why we're going to do something or what we're going to do. That's not what this process is. So as the petitioner, again, the City of Brantford would have to be the lead on the process. County staff and presumably council members would want to participate in that evening as well.
Councillor Oakhill, you're next.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. Do we need a motion on how to deal with this right now, or we're still asking comments and questions?
I think we're still commenting and asking questions. Councillor Haley?
Through you, I wanted to ask about the public consultation. I know Brantford would lead it, but so often public consultation is a farce. It's display boards and it's called public information, PICs, whatever. So is there a way that we can ask for true consultation, that it be a public meeting? Can we ask for that?
Through your worship to Councillor Haley, I can certainly ask for that. I can't control what they'll say yes or no to, but I can certainly make that recommendation.
Any other questions?
I have a quick comment just in regards to public consultation, if I may.
Okay.
February 26, the City of Brantford had a public consultation in regards to the Oak Park Road extension, or what they're calling now the West Access Brantford Road. There was probably over 300 people at that public consultation. Their newly appointed engineering firm who's heading up their environmental assessment. Level 1, Level 2 was done by Parsons, in which they actually recommended an alternative route to what is currently being appointed. As we went to the public consultation, BT Engineering ultimately steered the public consultation. There was no Brantford City Council up front to answer questions during that public consultation. There were Brantford City residents, county residents that spoke. BT Engineering could only speak on the Environmental Assessment Act of the of the actual assessment that's occurring right now. And council was not available to answer any city of Brantford or county residents' questions. We were muted. Microphones were shut off. We were told we were not allowed to talk. And BCAA has, through its legal representation, has engaged the Ministry of Environment, the MOE, and has sent a letter in regards to that February 26th consultation, as it was not done properly through municipal guidelines and the Municipal Act.
Thank you. Okay, any other follow-up questions? Seeing none, Councillor Oakley?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to make a motion that we receive this information and refer it to our CAO for negotiations, and then if I may explain my motion.
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to state off the cuff here that I support everything that you're asking us to do here. The reason why I'm not moving what you have brought forward here before us is I think there's times where us as council, we're in a very powerful position to be able to make and affect change. And I think there's times where activists like yourself are in a very powerful position to make change. In the position we sit, we have to play the game very carefully and follow the rules and cross all the T's and dot our I's and participate how the province has told us to, because we're creatures of the province, or else we may get a bad result for everybody, just on the basis of we're not playing the game they want us to, how they want us to play it. So for now, I think the best thing that we can do to safeguard your own interest, the county's own interest, is participate in the process that's been laid out for us. I agree wholeheartedly that all this, I don't necessarily think that, does this need to wait till October? At a base level, maybe not, but in terms of if all the public consultation was able to be done properly, if all of this was able to be done in the timelines before the lame duck period, sure, why not? I think we can all agree that that seems unlikely to happen, which is why there's this deadline that's been set. But it's been set for us and we have to stick with that. In terms of where you guys sit, I think that you guys are in a strong position to be able to speak these concerns that you have to us, to City Council, even individually, even if you're not able to get on the agenda there, to your MPP, to members of government, in a way that we have to, play by the rules they've set out. You can express your whole opinion as you see it. So I think, you guys are doing what you need to be doing. I think we're doing the best we can here, and I appreciate you coming out.
Looking for a seconder for Councillor Oakley. Councillor Coleman? Anyone else want to speak to it? Okay, no more? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. And what we're going to do now is we're going to move 5.6 up right after you, so that you're not waiting all night. Thank you very much for coming, by the way. Okay, if you could just give us your name, please, and who you represent. You have 10 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Jane Lucenti, and
I'm Jim Stevenson, and we're both residents on August Ave.
thank you for providing our delegation this opportunity to share our concerns about the possible changes to the airport lands and the Oakhill community. Our delegation specifically represents the area around August Ave, Isabel Drive, and Forest Road. However, I know from my frequent dog walks in the neighborhood that our concerns are shared by the wider community. Last night, on about 6 hours' notice, approximately 25 citizens met in my backyard to express our concerns about these developments. The biggest common theme to come out of our meeting was the lack of reliable and timely information about what is happening and how that directly impacts us. For example, yesterday morning, I contacted our MPP, Mr. Bauma's office, and spoke to the woman who answered the phone. I told her that I've been hearing rumors that the decision-making process had been escalated to the provincial government out of local hands. She told me that she hadn't heard this and that Mr. Bauma's office was not aware of any participation at a provincial level. She asked me to find out what area of the provincial ministry was involved and to get back to her. After short internet research, I found that the airport talks were being directed by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing and have a mandated deadline of June 30th. We would like to know what this means for the citizens of Oakhill. For example, will there be opportunities for us to have input, or is the ministry decision final? What exactly is the extent of airport lands? We're hearing words like annexation and amalgamation. The provincial government of late is acquiring the reputation of being heavy-handed with their strong mayor powers and the use of MZOs, Minister Zoning Orders, where the provincial government is basically given carte blanche if their decision is deemed in the provincial interest. Do we as citizens need to be concerned about this?
As already indicated, there has been no communication regarding the boundaries of the airport lands. There have been reports in the media that there is hope that the provincial facilitator can assist in redefining these boundaries. Yet again, there has been no definition of redefining the boundaries is. The Ford government has apparently earmarked Brantford for high growth, as was disclosed at the West Brant Access Road public meeting. They have supported the city of Brantford in this endeavor by expanding the city's boundaries by over 6,000 acres and awarding it the Building Faster Fund for exceeding housing targets. This last city expansion entailed a negotiation phase of upwards of 13 years. The current expansion plan of 3 months with no consultation process with any of the residents in Brant County appears to be an end run for further land acquisition without due process. The commitment of the county to keep the community informed of the process as per the Brant Beacon has yet to be fulfilled in our viewpoints. A concern we have is that if the airport lands are redesignated as City of Brantford land, this creates an island within the community. I currently live between the current City of Brantford limits and the airport area, and I'm concerned that the city will try to extend their borders to include this area as well and create a cohesive unit. We chose to live in our current neighborhood with the zoning designation of hamlet residential and have no desire to become part of the city with its higher density housing that is being sought by both the city and the province.
Another concern we have is what is intended by airport expansion and how this will impact the area. There are a lot of homes in this area, with many more being built. The airport is already noisy, so obviously this will increase. These questions are just a tip of the iceberg. I'm sure you can understand why we are concerned. This seems a very opaque and intimidating process. We are trying to understand what is happening with very little factual information being presented. As they say, there is no point closing the gate after the horse is already out. We shouldn't have to be relying on Facebook and community rumors for our information. We would like to be part of the process before the decision is made and it is too late. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And it breaks our heart to hear you have to come and tell us this, because we are very proud of the County of Brant the way it stands. We didn't ask for any of this. We certainly are not. We take in-camera messaging very seriously. When we're told we can't talk about it, we can't talk about it. And it's hard to watch us get bulldozed. I feel we're getting bulldozed. I think you're getting bulldozed. But we can't talk about it, and we can't comment, because as I said, the CEOs are doing their thing right now. As you can see by how I feel, having the mayors go at it was not the right answer, because it wouldn't have worked out at all for anybody. So we have stepped back. We hear you. We're sorry that you have to even be worried about all of this, but it's not something that we've chased after. It's not something we've ever wanted. And it's something that's in the works right now. And I think, as Councillor Oakley said, your voice is the voice that can be heard anywhere right now. And we're being muzzled by the process. And we want to be careful that we don't say or do the wrong things so that it will get worse for all of us. So we have to play by the rules, and the rules are not very nice. And we were told that we don't even have to come to the table if we don't want to, because the decisions will be made whether we're there or whether we're not. And that's not a very good thing for a mayor and a council and actually staff to hear, is that we really don't even need to be there. It just leaves you with an empty feeling. And as you said, the process has begun, and we're just gonna have to wait. But we can't jeopardize, we've said we're going to deal, we're gonna act in good faith, and we have to stand by that, or they're gonna come after us even worse. Just know that the two pieces are different, the airport and the big chunk of land that someone spoke about that I'm not sure what you're talking about. But they're separate things, and we have to deal with them as separate things, or we're gonna really be in trouble. So again, is there any questions to this delegation? Councillor Haley and then Councillor Miller. Councillor Miller, you're first.
Well, I just want to commend the delegation for coming forward. Yeah, I read your presentation, and I think the mayor said it very well. We're in such a tough spot. But what frustrates me, and obviously it frustrates you guys, is you are the ones that could be the most impacted, and you are the ones that are not being told anything, so you got to rely on rumors and social media and whatnot. So that's extremely frustrating. I know municipalities do things that aren't popular. It's not my DNA to hide from the public when you do things like that. I think it should be open and fair, and everybody gets an input. That's true consultation. So, yeah, at least you come tonight, you're learning some things. It's probably not what you're hoping to learn. But my question is, maybe through you, Mr. Mayor, to Allison, our CAO, is there any way we could ask whoever, obviously somebody from the province, what information we can share? Because like I say, it's not fair that the people most impacted are the ones kept in the dark on this. And that, I'm telling you, that bothers me so much when I see that. So is there anything we can do to see if we can't maybe rectify that?
Awesome.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Miller. I actually had a conversation this afternoon with our facilitator on exactly that. Really, I'll just reiterate what I said earlier, in that he recommended that we say we will have some public consultation in the next month. And at that time, the hope is that, and there is discussion, I can say that, on where exactly the boundary lines would be and what that would look like. But that's really all I've been told I can say publicly.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm frustrated, and it'd be nice if we could get around that somehow, but okay, let me think. Thank you.
I just think it's so frustrating that this room is full of people that have come here for answers, and we can't tell you anything. And it's unbelievable, because what we can't tell you about is taking apart a piece of the county, which is just absurd. But it's the way it is. It's what we said we would do, and we have to finish off with the process, or we'll all be in bigger trouble than I think we already are. Councillor Haley.
Through you. Thank you for your presentation. I wonder if you could get a sit-down meeting. I know the woman who came to the last council meeting, just forgetting her name, Andrea, that Bauma did call her. So she may be able to get a meeting. Some people sometimes, I know people who never get their phone call returned from Bauma, but I think it's really important that you have a sit-down meeting with your MPP and ask the questions that you're asking us.
It's hard, because obviously from the conversation that Jane has, he's not even willing to admit that there is a process in ongoing. And that's something that as a council, we would expect that you should be able to hold his feet to the fire and let him know that he is also not fulfilling his obligations to the county and the residents of the area.
So through you, just to follow up, is that when you did call his office, you just called the office yesterday morning?
Yes.
But I believe MPP Bauma called your neighbor 2 weeks ago. So for the office to say that they don't know, the Bauma did call her and talk about it. So I think the first step might be to speak to your neighbor and get a meeting, because MPP Bauma did make the call.
Because they didn't seem to even know that there was an escalation.
And I have one request for the facilitator. I don't know if you, through you, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, to the CAO. You mentioned that Brantford would lead the facilitation, would lead the public consultation, but can we ask the facilitator to make sure that it's really fair consultation, that it's genuine public consultation?
Through your worship to council, I'll certainly make that request.
Any other questions? Councillor Oakley?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, let's go more just a comment. Just in terms of the public consultation, again, I appreciate you guys coming out, everyone coming out. When their public consultation is done at the end of this month, beginning of next month, make sure you show up to it. In terms of reaching out to the MPP, I would continue reaching out to MPP Bauma's office if you can. And then this is just as a general rule or general sort of advice to anyone engaging in these public consultations, because I understand there's been some skepticism on what, if the public consultation is happening 2 weeks before when the final decision's made, how impactful it is. Whether or not you believe that the public consultation is just, part of the pantomime of it, engage as if it is in good faith, because you're putting your best foot forward out there and putting it out all on the field as it were. And make sure during that public consultation, and again, not to you guys specifically, but generally, make sure that it's polite, concise, because the worst thing you can do at a public consultation process is go and start being shouty, because then they're going to dismiss your comments even if they're valid. So make sure calm, cool, collected.
Any other questions or comments? The only thing that makes me feel a little bit better about all of this is that most things that are done in the dark do come to the light at some time. So people can say they don't know what you're talking about, or people can say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, the truth will be heard and people will be accountable. But right now, we are in this horrible situation. Councillor Chambers?
Thank you. Just a comment, and I thank the delegation for the presentation. During the last annexation discussions that occurred with a facilitator, at the end of each session with the facilitator, there was a joint press release issued by both the city and the county explaining what happened in that session. Things that could be released were released, and I'm wondering if that is something that we could ask for, that in the facilitation process, at the conclusion of each session, a joint press release be issued and keeping the public apprised of the progress of the facilitation.
Through your worship to Councillor Chambers, absolutely, and we have discussed that somewhat with the facilitator. As you know, this has been a wildly accelerated process, so we've sort of been working at warp speed, and it's taken up a lot of staff time to try to do the work on the back end. So the expectation and the conversations I've had thus far with the province, they've agreed that when there's any sort of tentative agreements per se that can be shared on any aspect of the negotiations, is when we would have a joint press release, and that would be after council has had a chance to see it first, of course. I think it may have been a little bit different in 2016-17 because there were council members involved in the process, and because at this point there isn't. So the idea would be after the next round, which ends on the 13th of May, the next meeting I would bring something, assuming we have some concessions or at least offers on the table at that point, for council to either agree or reject in principle. And at that point, a joint press release would go out. So that would be in a couple of weeks. Part of the reason why we haven't proceeded in that direction is because, as I mentioned, no concessions have been reached at this point. We've just been negotiating back and forth, but nobody's agreed to anything at this point. So there was really not much to release other than that we're talking, and those talks continue. But we hope that there'll be some movement in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to share more information. Of course, that's subject to council approval.
Councillor Kyle and then Councillor Miller.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Through you, first, a comment to the delegation. Like my council colleagues, I thank you for the presentation and the time that you've taken to collect your thoughts and bring them in and present them to us. And we certainly share a lot of the concerns that you have. My question is through you, Mr. Mayor, to our CAO. Just kind of pulling on a thread from Councillor Chambers' question. So I certainly understand the process and not being able to say sort of what's been agreed on and what's up for discussion, but is there maybe a way to quell some of the rumors that are floating around with some sort of communication about what it's maybe not? I don't know if that's possible, but is there some way to perhaps make people feel a little bit more at ease and tell them what is not being discussed? And perhaps it's something you have to go back to the facilitator and the city with, but it would be nice to find some way to help people feel a little bit better about what's going on when there is so much uncertainty.
Oh, Mr.
Do you
Mayor,
have something?
I'm done.
All right. Anyone else have anything to say before we call the vote? We have something on the floor. It has been seconded. Do you want to read it again, what we're voting on? It's Councillor Oakhill for the resolution, yeah, and it was, who seconded it? Councillor Bell. Yeah.
That the County of Brant Council received the delegation with regards to the airport amalgamation as information.
As information and direct it to the CEO.
Yep, I can add that in.
Yeah. Is that it, Councillor Oakhill? Yeah. Everyone's clear? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for coming out, and we'll as soon as we can say anything, we will. Yeah, I think that's it for the discussions about the airport and the land of the County of Brant. So I think what we're going to do is we'll take a 5-minute break just to let people go home. Where is that? Oh, there's Ella. She's back. Okay. We're all back, and Heather's coming to the podium. Good news. Good news. All is good. All is good in the world. If you can just give us your name and who you represent, please. You've got 10 minutes.
You're gonna have to. All right, so, Heather Keem from Burford.
I'm Riley from the Burford Panthers.
And I'm Stacy Mitchell, convener and co-founder of the Burford Panthers.
So, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Heather Keem, and I'm the current president of the Burford Optimist Club. And on behalf of our members, I want to sincerely thank you for approving the new batting cages. This is an important investment in our community, especially our young people. What makes this project truly special is how it came together. It was 100% community-led. Families, volunteers, other baseball clubs, and supporters raised over $40,000. Every dollar coming from the community itself. This wasn't just about building a structure, it was about people. People stepping up to create something they believe in, something for our local youth. And when something is built this way, there's a different kind of ownership, a different kind of pride. It belongs to the community. For over 20 years, the Optimist Club has supported youth baseball in Burford, primarily through a house league program. Over time, we began hearing from the youth themselves that they wanted more opportunity, more challenge, and more ways to grow in the game. At the same time, like many communities, we were facing a real volunteer challenge. So rather than creating a separate organization or sports association and stretching volunteers even further, the Optimist Club stepped in to support this growth and act as a backbone to help make this possible. That led us to joining the South Oxford Softball League to create a more competitive pathway for players who are looking to grow. As a club, our vision is to make sure that every young person in our community has a place to play, to develop, and feel like they belong. The batting cages is part of that shared asset that will support players at all levels, now and into the future. I'd like to introduce the baseball convener, who has been instrumental in leading the efforts on the ground and can share more about the Burford Optimist Panthers Youth Baseball.
Hi there, again, I'm Stacy. I'm the co-founder and lead convener for the Burford Panthers. In 2022, when the Panthers were born, we had no idea what to expect. We knew our kids wanted to play, but with other options like soccer and hockey, who else would join? Our plan was set into motion when we were voted in as the newest member of the South Oxford Softball League with 2 teams that year. And to our surprise, one went on to win 3rd place at the year-end tournament. There was a buzz in the air. Baseball was really back in Burford. In the off-season, we built a website, an online registration platform, and created Panthers Swag. Community came together to sponsor teams and the league as a whole. Amazing coaches volunteered to work with our players and grow the love of baseball. The 2023 season saw registration grow to 3 teams. In 2024, we grew again to 4, and last year our growth exploded with 7 teams, with 1 bringing home the championship banner. As this season begins, we have over 120 registrations. Baseball is growing again in Burford. We see this in our numbers. We see it in our Panthers in Training T-ball program. and we see it at every game day at the park. Keeping youth sports in Burford is vital. Additions like the batting cage and future diamond upgrades will help kids playing in Burford develop skills with all the tools available to bigger city players. Our vision is to invest in the growth of the Burford Ballpark in order to support the continued growth of the sport. Upgrades to the ballpark will encourage increased community engagement and allow greater opportunities to host more games and tournaments, generating revenue for the ball leagues and area businesses. Being active, making friends, having fun, all in Burford at their own ballpark. Doesn't that sound like a place your kids want to be? Thank you for your time and consideration, and we celebrate this batting cage. I'd like to turn it over to one of our star pitchers with the Burford Panthers, Riley.
Good evening, councilors and Mayor Bailey. My name is Riley, and I'm a Burford Panther. I've been playing baseball in Burford my whole life, and I'm 10. This batting cage that you've approved will be very helpful for me to reach my future goal, which is to become a D1 baseball player. Today, I would like to thank you for approving our Burford batting cage. I know that my team can't wait to use this batting cage. A batting cage is better for team players because they're hitting off a fast and accurate pitch like in a game. It is also easier for coaches to see what level you're at for hitting, and they could be running another drill while the rest of the team is practicing hitting. Another benefit is this is going to bring our community together and make people want to spend more time at our Burford Park. I can't wait to use the Burford batting cage. Again, thank you so much for approving our Burford batting cage. Thank you, Burford Optimists, for supporting youth baseball. Without service clubs, this wouldn't be possible. Thank you, Burford Panthers, for keeping baseball local. Thank you, Council and Mayor Bailey, for your time. Most importantly, thank you all for believing in youth sports.
Thank you very much. Thank you for coming tonight. Let's get it on the floor so we can talk about it a little bit. Councillor Kyle and Councillor Pierce. Who wants to speak first? Councillor Kyle.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you to our delegation. Thank you for coming, and a special thank you to Riley for such nice words. You're very eloquent for just 10 years old, and so my family has some past involvement with the Burford Panthers. My son was looking for a team last year and ended up playing for Burford and had a great year. So I'm really happy to see that this edition is going to be able to go forward at the park. I know it was something that was talked about a lot last year, and it certainly does, to echo the comments of our delegates, that something like a batting cage does allow for that development of our young players, and hopefully will help Riley make her dream of being a Division I pitcher someday. So congratulations for coming tonight, and all the best to all of you.
Councillor Miller, you're next.
Just, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question, but I just want to congratulate the Optimists and staff for getting this done so quick. Good job. I want to ask maybe Heather, do you have any other projects on the go that you can talk about?
I think I need to rest, don't you think? We've been in here a lot lately.
Okay, fair enough. I wanted to ask, as far as bookings go, who's doing the bookings on this? Do we know?
I believe when, during conversations, we talked about creating a process in partnership with the county. We are looking at models used by area, other local clubs where they have embedded on their own website a booking process so that teams that belong to Burford would be given set times based on their practice times, and then outside teams could also rent it. So we're looking at, that process is yet to be determined. We're hoping that once it's built, we can figure out how internally we can book it, and then looking at a booking process that we can do in partnership with the county.
I know it's not built yet, but at this point, we don't know. Like, if I wanted to book it for a birthday party, we don't know just yet. Okay.
Correct. That would be figured, that's yet to be determined what that process is, yeah.
Okay. And maybe sometime in the future, Councillor Chambers will share his batting cage incident, because it is worth
That'd be
listening
fun.
to. So. Yeah.
That'd be fun. Do you want to give us a teaser, or?
That's up to him, but I thought it was a good story. So.
Councillor Chambers has already asked to be the next person in line to speak, so I bet you it's about the
Someday I'll tell you my batting cage experience, but not tonight. It wasn't a good experience. But I'm sure the new batting cage, everyone will have a good experience. I have, if I might just speak directly to Riley. Riley, what I want you to do is, next time you're in the Burford Arena, which I know you're probably in there quite often, take a look at the hall or the wall of fame, and you'll see the plaque dedicated to the Burford Bluebirds, which was a girls' team that won a provincial championship and brought great fame to Burford back in the day. So I'm going to look forward when the Burford Panthers are inducted onto the Wall of Fame, and your picture, it's kind of a pun, but your picture as a pitcher will be on the Hall of Fame. So get it done, because I'm not going to be around forever, and there are still Burford Bluebirds around to congratulate you. So do that, and good luck, Burford Panthers. It's nice to hear that Burford baseball is back, and that's, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I'd like to just say thank you to Heather for everything you do. You do a lot, and when you say you're going to do something, you do it. And as I've been the mayor and seen things happen through the whole county, Burford has come together in every way. Christmas, baseball, time capsules, reunions. Every time Burford does something that I've noticed, it's been done well, and it's been done with you as the lead. Like you people, the Burford people, have come together as a community. So, you know, when we're having times of you know, a little bit of severance and we feel badly about things that are happening sometimes in the county, Burford has stepped up, and it's stellar. It's a stellar part of the county and very strong. So thank you for all you do. And I'm not just saying that. I do mean that everything that Burford tackles is done properly and on time. So thank you for all you do. Any other comments? It's on the floor. It has a seconder. All those in favor just to receive his information? Opposed? Why would we? There you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. If you ever feel the need to build an airport, get back to us.
Oh, that's my next thing.
Okay, there you go. 5.4, Barry and Roy. You want to come up? Poor Roy.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Roy Haggard, representing Royal Canadian Legion, Branch 29, William Street in Paris. It's a privilege to be here again. And funny story, every time you say all those in favor, my right hand wants to go up. But I control it. I'm here again from last year. Last year, I thought we had accomplished a decision to extend the exemption for music on the patio at the Legion. And it was my error, I guess, because I was leading it, and it read that I just found out through our counselor here that it was for last year only. I did not realize that. That's not what we were talking about. That's not where we wanted to go. So I'm here tonight to start the process, I guess, that we will move towards a perpetual license on the noise exemption. We understand fully the requirements of music on the patio. We normally run at 12 to 4 o'clock. It's a single musician, guitar, instrumental, and we have gone through the process with the neighborhood, met with many of the neighbors, had the neighbors at the Legion. They are now fully informed of what we do, how we do it, and they have withdrawn their objections, civic objections, as they presented last year. They withdrew those last year. And further, they have advised us that they have no objections going forward. So we took a terrible loss last year because we were not allowed to have music on the patio. Music draws people. We run a barbecue at the same time, and we estimate through the treasurer that we lost approximately $6,500 over the course of 3 months. And if you're aware of legions in Ontario are struggling for survival, and if revenue keeps getting taken away from them, they're not going to survive. They can't survive. It's a difficult, difficult situation. We, again, we went out and we bought a decibel meter to track the sound as it's happening so that we're fully involved in making sure that it doesn't get ridiculously loud. It was never ridiculously loud. It was just that a couple people had misunderstandings about it. So I'm not sure, Mr. Mayor, exactly the process that we should be following at this point in time. We wanted to bring it to your attention that, again, we are concerned and that we're looking for perpetual agreement on the sound issue. We learned a lesson through bylaw last time. And in fact, fire department put a bunch of requests on the permit, which stops the permit till those are answered. So we reacted to that. We had a meeting with fire department and bylaw this morning at just after 8 o'clock. We have John Emerson working with us, 27-year fire chief here in Paris, working with the fire department, Matthew and Kayla and Mr. Webb from Bylaw, to develop a safety fire plan for not only the open area, but also building, which we've never had. So we're going to correct that. So we're trying our best to meet the requirements, but at the same time, if we don't produce the income, I don't really know what's going to happen. $6,500 is a lot of money for an organization that's struggling for every nickel it gets. So that's where I am. I'm not here to be here all night. I wanted to let you know where we're at. This is what we're looking for. If we can find some way to facilitate that, would be wonderful. Fire department, as of this morning, has withdrawn all of their comments and will be meeting with us in the next week to develop this fire plan, which will resolve all of the issues, and they're content with that. So, and I must say, like always that I've dealt with, and our executive, the staff at Brant County are very cooperative and very willing to work with us and other people, I'm sure, to get things done in a orderly, timely fashion. So we appreciate that, and I'm hoping that we can move forward. That's it.
Thanks, Roy. Can I get a mover to get on the floor, please? Councillor Oakley and Councillor Coleman. What do you think we should do with this? Councillor Bell, or Councillor Miller, sorry.
Well, through you, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to ask Roy, when is the event that you need it for?
We
all summer?
We started putting the tarps up, or the canopies up, around the first week in May. So that's part of the issue also, because we can't do anything until we get this permit, temporary permit from the county. That's being held up by fire and so on and so forth, but that's being withdrawn. So I would say that we'll put it in operation third week in May.
I'm just wondering if we referred it to staff to look at, bring us back a report and say, yeah, we can do it and whatnot.
Oh, we can do it. You can do it.
I know. I'm just wondering, because you know yourself, there's a process here at municipalities, and sometimes they take a month or two.
Yeah.
But you're looking sooner rather than later.
Well, it's we learned last year when we got into the whole thing of no music, that people just stopped coming out because they were coming out for the entertainment, not just the food. And that's where we lost the money. And if we don't have something going on, then it's going to happen again.
Okay,
We
so-
can't afford to have it happen again.
Okay, so if I could maybe ask staff, Mr. Mayor, the granting of a noise bylaw, the staff has delegated authority, I believe, to do that, do they not? But not for a permanent one?
Cindy?
Through the mayor to council, I think in this case, they're asking for an exemption to the noise bylaw, which council would have the authority to do. I was looking at what was approved in 2025, and it was a noise exemption from May 1st to October 31st, between certain hours of the day, 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. But as the delegate said, there was an end date to that. So I think what they'd be looking for is another exemption, at least for this year. I think asking for something in perpetuity would have other implications. Circumstances could change in the future. So council would have the authority to do that exemption this year if you wanted to do that.
Okay.
Councillor Pierce and then Councillor House.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I would be willing to put forth a motion that we grant it for this year so they can get underway to get it going, but also, to Councillor Miller's point, refer it to staff to see what can be done to potentially do, whether it's an automatic renewal, so to speak, because it's not a permanent 12 months a year, it's just for a certain time frame. But I think, as the delegation stated, their hands are tied in getting anything going until we get that for this year. So I would like to at least get it for this year so they can do their thing, but also understand, are we able to, do a renewal or how that would work?
Council?
Through your worship to council, I would suggest that we can absolutely do the renewal for this year, and we come back with the report on some implications, how we might be able to do it on a sort of rolling basis moving forward. As Cindy said, there may be some implications in terms of things changing moving forward, but we can certainly look at how we could roll something like that out. We would just have to look at how many events might be affected by that, do a little bit of analysis and come back. I'd be hesitant to say yes tonight, but we can certainly renew it for this year and then come back with something more detailed moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't, until we have all the information, I wouldn't want to do a permanent thing now to understand how it goes, but at least let's get it for this year so they can at least do their thing, and then we can understand how we go forward.
Councillor House, are you looking to second this?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, at the very least, to second it. I was hoping that we might look at giving them a 2-year exemption tonight while we figure out a more long-term plan for them. I'm thinking about the 2 years just because I know that organizations like the Legion need to do some future planning, and they need the peace of mind of some stability for at least the current year and maybe the next year. And I was wondering if Councillor Pierce would see that as a friendly amendment, just for the peace of mind.
Before we go back to Councillor Pierce, we better hear from Cindy again.
Through the mayor to council, I would just be cautious on that, as I know we do have other legions that apply for a noise exemption every year. As well, the noise bylaw for the county is currently under review, and we expect that we'll be bringing something that may look different back to council later this year. Councillor
House, are you still ready to second Councillor Pierce?
Sure. I understand what staff are saying, and that's fair. Sure. Yeah, I would wholeheartedly second Councillor Pierce's motion of let's give the branch 29, the exemption for this year, and then let's all work towards a more long-term solution for them.
Thank you. Councillor Kyle, you're next.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I was mostly just going to second Councillor Pierce's motion, but I'll just say that I wholeheartedly agree with what the motion that's on the floor.
Thank you. Councillor Oakley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was talking back and forth with Mr. Haggart. You know, I would be tempted tonight to move something that we do it in perpetuity, recognizing that I don't think the temperature is quite there, and we are working on updating our noise bylaw, so perhaps that can be worked into there. In my mind, you know, the Legion's been there as long as the neighborhood has, and I think, you know, the Legion didn't only just start doing live music. They only just recently got complained on and had to get the permit. This is how the facility's been used probably at least as long as I've been alive. So, which is not that long, I understand, but still. I would be tempted to say in perpetuity, but as long as we recognize as part of that motion that it's going to be coming back so we can discuss those types of things and we get things going so that the Legion can get their events going early May, end of May, then I'm happy with the motion.
Councillor Chambers?
And my comment is this is probably something that we can delegate to staff or approve, like in our staff delegation bylaw or whatever we call it, that staff be authorized to provide the noise exceptions rather than Roy having to come to council and all the delays and all that. It's something staff can do at the desk, and then Roy can do that over the phone. He doesn't have to come out and although he probably likes coming out to council. He always did anyway.
After hearing that first part of the meeting, delegations, that's not the ones I miss. I don't miss those at all.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Councillor Pierce, seconded by Councillor Howes. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Thanks, Roy.
Thank you, and if I may, I'd just like to throw in, Branch 29 Legion is proud to celebrate its 100th anniversary in October. The wheels are in motion for many, many things for the weekend of October 2, 3, and 4. You will be informed shortly of what's going on, and invitations will be going out. And we're looking for a great weekend. We've got some great entertainment. World star entertainment, I might say, that have won Junos and everything else. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend. And we hope that you can all make it and enjoy it with us. And we support or appreciate your support of the branch. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all you do, Roy. You've kept that place going for a long time, so.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 5.5, Kelly Bernstein and the County of Brant Public Library with her partner Fred here. Come on, Fred. Whenever you're ready, Kelly.
Down a little. That is really small.
Thanks, Brian. So cute.
Greetings, Mayor Bailey and council. It's my pleasure once again to come before you with Kelly, our library CEO, to present an annual report for your public library service in the County of Brant. This time, 2025, the year most recently passed. It's been my privilege over the time that I've been chair to come to the council with these reports, and every time I've come, I've brought numbers that have shown a steady and consistent upward trend to the library statistics. the commitment of the community, the engagement, and the depth of our participation with the community grows every year. And there you can see some numbers. Our in-person traffic across our 5 branches is up 9% this year, and that's on top of an increase in 2024. So again, our trend line continues up and up. Our membership of people in our community of just over 40,000 people, we have 32,070 registered members. And of that number, we can safely assure you that 22,000, pretty much 22,000, just under, are active registrations. They carry cards that actually get used. And there's a number that represents our online participation in a variety of formats. That number changes because some of our, what would you call it, the Google and the other information platforms who count these things sometimes change their algorithms. But we're confident, and we can tell you that the online and participation and engagement with the community continues to grow too. Library users everywhere are among the most voracious consumers of information and creative media in all formats. They are the people that spend their money at Indigo chapters, they're the people that buy the download streaming services, and they're the people that use their library cards. What you're looking at is a big number for all the items that we lent out this past year, 2025. Most of that number is probably still books, but also embedded in that number, that would include virtual books, that would include download streaming of films, many other things as well, gadgets and gears and other stuff. So it's a 5% increase, again, another upward arrow indicating growth across our community. Now, you might remember not long ago we brought you a presentation about a tool that is being applied to the library services across Ontario that measures the return on investment. When somebody takes out a library book, that's money that they didn't have to spend at Indigo chapters. So there's a value attached to the loan of that book, or the ability to come to a program for free at the library, and so on. And with the measure of our impact on our community, Volt has reported that the patrons in the County of Brant, if they had to spend their money from their pocket to access those services, saved over $7 million. That's money that stayed in our community, and that's money that's in people's pockets that they can spend locally. So it's a good indicator number of the depth and the integration of the library service into the community. And you know, if that's one way to think about that number, it's very significant. Some more numbers. Sometimes when people come to the library, they have some very specific needs that are immediate and sometimes urgent. And those needs are often around information. And here you can see the impact that our staff at the library is making by responding to reference queries, providing the internet access, and that last number, the online classes, has grown year over year by a pretty staggering amount, over 100%, over 100%. So people in the community choosing the library's online classes to acquire skills and capabilities to help them grow. Now, one of the big features of a library service is the programming. And there you can see a number of the programs that were offered across the 5 branches in the year 2025. Those programs also include outreach programs, the programs where the staff, for instance, goes to schools and visits classrooms, where we visit the Apple Fest and the fair and other community events, those outreach events are also counted in the programming total. Here, I've got on my hands the programming booklet for the spring. It's loaded. A lot of these programs are offered across all 5 branches and outreach as well. In 2025, over 30,000 people attended programs in County of Brant library branches. Those will be in-person participants in the library branches. So with that, I think I'm turning it over to Kelly. You finished?
Sure. So Fred's given you the numbers, let me give you some of the details. We want to highlight some of the programs, some of our most successful programs from 2025. 2025 was the 20th anniversary of our One Book, One Brant program, and we celebrated with beloved best-selling Canadian author Emma Donoghue. In 2025, we also introduced Pause to Read, which was a partnership with Therapeutic Pause of Canada. And here you see Marcus being read to by 2 of our youngest residents who were enjoying their time getting to read to a therapy dog. 2025 was our first annual literary themed gala called Winter at Pemberley, and that was in honor of Jane Austen's 250th birthday. So I'll tell you some of the programs, initiatives that we started in 2025 that have had the biggest community impact. And first up is our English Conversation Circle. This was started through a partnership with local newcomer organizations. It began at the very end of 2024, but throughout 2025, we saw attendance more than double by the end of the year and continues to grow to this day. It's a lively group where newcomers from countries around the world meet at the library to have conversations, to learn about each other, life, and the community they live in. Last year, our reading club participants, or our youngest members, earned 3,204 prizes by reading during the Summer Reading Club. As Fred mentioned, some of our program stats include visits to local schools, and these are some of the highest impact contacts that we have. Our staff visited our schools within the community 424 times last year. We also recognize some incredible support from the community. Last year was the 25th anniversary of the Paris Friends of the Library Group. We are very grateful for their continued support and energy that they put into several initiatives supporting the library. We have dozens of local businesses who support the library through donations, through gifts of prizes that we then pass on to our program attendees, particularly the Summer Reading Club kids. We're missing a slide. Forgive me. Oh, okay. 2 initiatives we began in 2025 were wellness drop-ins in partnership with the Sexual Assault Center of Brant. That was a supportive but confidential, easily accessible space within the library where our residents in need of help or assistance could connect with those local services. 2025 also saw us introducing a free period program, free period product program, where period products were made available in all of our branches. This is an effort towards our commitment to inclusion and fostering belonging, comfort within the community. So I'll jump ahead again. Every year, we show you our money in, our money out, because as you can see, the County of Brant is our largest funder. You'll be interested to know this number actually decreased slightly in 2025. It fluctuates from year to year, depending on the number of grants that we receive, number of donations, et cetera. But the County of Brant is consistently above 95% for our annual funding, and we are very, very conscious of doing the best that we can with that funds. So last year, you can see the bulk of our funds were spent on staffing and training, not unusual for most organizations. We spent other portions of the money on our collections, making those available to the community, and our facilities, technology, and our programming. So Fred and I are fortunate to be here to present this good news to Council. But we would not be here. We have to recognize that we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here without a very supportive, encouraging board, without an incredibly dedicated staff, and without the incredible commitment that this council has made to the library services in Brant. So we'd like to say thank you as well, and thank you for your time tonight.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks, Fred. Can I get someone to put this on the floor so we can talk about it? Councillor Pierce and Councillor Kyle. Comments for Kelly? Councillor Pierce?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you. For the numbers, Fred, thank you for the numbers. I am a numbers guy, and you answered a couple of my questions because on the one with the members, the 32,000 members, you noted that there was 22,000 active. Now, active, does that mean that they've used their card in the last 6 months, the last year? What's classified as active?
Yeah. So the provincial definition is active use within the last 2 years.
2 years, okay, thank you for that. Okay, so in the first one with the traffic, do you have by chance the breakdown by branch?
Yes, we do.
Because you don't have to give it tonight,
Yep,
but it'd be
we do.
interesting if you could get that information. I'd be interested to know just the breakdown of that 128,000, so that would be great. And then, again, Fred, you alluded to the fact of our patrons saved money using the library, and I was going to ask you to remind us again. I know how you said it last time, but to remind us again, but you did that, so you took one of my questions away there, so thank you. You were thinking about what I was thinking about. But I do have, when we get to the revenues and expenditures, I appreciate the fact there that we've got percentage-wise in there. Do you have dollar amounts for those?
Yes, of course. So the County of Brant's contribution to the library in 2025 was about $2.8 million.
Okay, and for grants, do you know that off the top of your head?
Our income for grants was, I believe, about $120,000.
Okay, that's what I have. Thank you.
Councillor Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. To Kelly and Fred, thank you for that report. I joined the library board this last year, so I've been learning. What I see in this report reflects really tangible benefits to many, many people in our community. And it stretched my memory today when I was thinking, it reminds me of something. And it took me ages to remember Blockbuster. This is like free Blockbuster. I mean, literally, the things you used to pay to get out of Blockbuster, you get for free from our public library. And then you got books, and then you got other things as well. And it just sort of illustrates the increasing utility of our libraries. And Fred and Kelly didn't mention the things that the library also does. I mean, most recently, it could become a polling centre. It's a warming centre. It's a cooling centre. It's a place where people can access internet when they don't have it for themselves. And it's actually a really key part of our social fabric. And we need to have that in mind every time we think about decisions on funding libraries. So I've been a little bit of a convert, as people might gather. Thank you both.
Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One question on the report, and then one question because you're here, if that's okay. On the report itself, you trialed the wellness program. Do you know what the uptake was at?
I think you mean attendance to the support clinics from...
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you the wrong number, I'm sorry. So if you'll let me get back to you on that, I'll get you the exact number.
And I understand it's the first year and sometimes things take a while to grow, so I'm just wondering, I don't want to see zero, but I'd like to know that it is being used. Then I want to ask, I got a call the other day from a senior. Now, if I told her she was a senior, she'd be upset with me, but she's a senior. And she was concerned that there was no in-person voting and everything's online this year. So I'm not sure, but I want to ask while you're here, if I want to go to the library, can I go to the library and vote?
Through your worship to Councillor Miller's question, yes, so we worked for the by-election, we worked with the library staff to have the computers set up with a link to the voting website. We had a little info card thing on each desk next to each computer that show them how to do it.
Okay.
It's just a matter of them, people showing up with their voter information letter and casting.
And I know you did say that people could go in person and vote, but they can go to the library, and library staff will be trained up and ready to help. And my question is then, which is good to know, will any of the hours be extended or any staff be added or hours extended? Is there any plans for that, or just the same hours? Away we go.
The library board just discussed that at the last meeting, and there seems to be certainly quite a lot of willingness, and I know there would be capacity among staff. We could come to the council with a funding request to expand that. It would be outside of our current budget.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, like I say, I mean, they seem to be, the person I was talking to seemed, a little comforted by the fact that, yeah, you could still go somewhere. That I thought, I wonder if they can go to the library. So, okay, thank you for that answer.
Through your worship, just in terms of the extended hours and things, so we'll make it a point to make sure that people can go to a location at some point during the advanced vote period and actual voting day. So even if the library isn't open, they can go to one of the voting locations. There will be at least 2 per ward.
Councillor Coleman and then Councillor Chambers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you to Fred and Kelly. The Onondaga kiosk, are your numbers going up every year, or can you tell me that, or what's going on? I appreciate that.
We are delighted, Councillor Coleman, to say that the Onondaga kiosk has doubled use since reopening after COVID. It is showing a steady increase of use, and we have recently offered children's programs, maker programs, so 3D printers and such. And we're actively taking our library services out there, and the community is responding with great interest.
Councillor Chambers.
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor, both Councillor Bell and Fred alluded to the fact that libraries do save people money, and you can go to the library and get a book and you don't have to go buy it. One thing that struck me, and I did have the opportunity to attend the one book, one brand, or vice versa. Did I say that right? And something, and I apologize because I don't know her name and I don't know the name of her store, but the proprietor of the independent bookstore here in Paris was there, and I had a discussion with her, and she was very, very supportive of the libraries and made the comment that she works very, very well with the libraries, and it's not a competitor type relationship, it's a symbiotic relationship, and the big chapters and the Indigos and all the big bookstores you can go to the independent small town book sales or stores, and you'll have an experience just like going to the library. And I just wanted to mention that because we're not in competition with bookstores. We can work together with the bookstores. And she was, and I apologize again, I forget her name, but she was very, very complimentary to the library service and vice versa. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the independent bookstore up here around the corner.
Okay. Councillor Haley.
Through you, thank you for the tour that you gave me and the time that you spent with me. And I got asked often during the election by rural people, what do we get for our taxes? And so I think this here, our patrons saved $7,271,000. I think that that's a really good statistic to have. Also, just free newspapers. I mean, you can see any newspaper in the world for free. You can read the Brantford. You don't have to have a subscription, which is great. A lot of people don't know that. You don't have to have Netflix because you have Hoopla. And then because you have the agreement with Brantford, you can get a card there, so you have double Hoopla. So I think this is a great stat to have. My question is there any chance in the future that we could expand the library outreach to Cairnsville and maybe even to Langford?
Do you want to talk strategy?
Operations.
Okay. The fast answer is yes, of course, Councillor Haley. We are interested in providing service to every corner of this county, and we are carefully, methodically, responsibly expanding our service where we can. So this year, the board will be doing a service review, a facility review, as well as a strategic plan of the library services and service points. And you can expect to see our growth plans presented to council. And of course, that will be growth over a long period of time because we acknowledge that growth is expensive, but there is certainly the interest on our part.
Any other questions, comments? I attended one book, one brand, and you couldn't have asked for a better turnout or a better group of people. It was a wonderful day, and everyone had a great time. And it was so great to see a lot of old friends that just come together for that. So congratulations on that. It was a big success. Councillor Chambers, of course, was a star. He was Bob Barker at his best, emceeing the event. So. Okay, we have, Councillor Oakley.
Yeah, through you, sir, just one comment. Just along what Councillor Coleman said, I now drive every day down 54 on my way to Caledonia to work, and I've seen the library van out front there running the kiosk there, so that's good to see. And I was having a conversation recently with someone to speak about the amount of programming we have now, who was looking to get their kid into Dungeons and Dragons, which I'm a big fan of, and there's programs at the library for that. I've also talked to the owner of the card shop just down here in Paris, and people have learned how to play Magic the Gathering at the library and then go to patronize that. It's similar to what Councillor Chambers is saying with the bookstore. These things are all sort of symbiotic and feed into each other, so kudos.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. And we have a seconder. Is there any other questions to Kelly or Fred? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor to receive? Thank you, guys. Okay. Takes us to number 6.1 on the agenda, which is the previous minutes of March the 24th. I think Councillor Miller has that.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor McAlpine, that the County of Brant Council minutes of March 24th, 2026 be approved.
Any questions to the minutes of March the 24th? Seeing none, call the vote to receive them. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any business arising from the minutes of March the 24th? Seeing none, we'll go to the consent items to be approved. We don't have any, actually. It's consent items to be received, noting that there's, I think, 15 of them. Does anyone want anything separated for discussion? Councillor Bill?
8.2.5, please,
Yeah,
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Pierce.
I guess it's, bear with me, Mr. Mayor.
Did you have two, Councillor Bell, or just the one?
Just one.
Councillor Pierce?
It is 8.2.2.
Okay. Councillor Miller?
8.2.7, and then 8.2.11.
Anybody else? Councillor Haley? 8.2.15, you said? Okay. Okay, so anybody else? So we're going to vote on 8.2.1, 8.2.3, 8.2.4, 8.2.8, 8.2.9, 8.2.10, 8.2.12, 8.2.13. All those in favor? 14 is separated.
Yeah, separated.
Okay, we're going to go to 8.2.1 first. Who had that pulled? Nope. Oh, I'm sorry, point 2.
Point 2, that's.
Yep, library board.
Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So, yeah, so it's from the minutes of February 25th.
Yeah.
It's the second page. So it was business arising from the previous minutes, and it states that the chair of the County of Brant Public Library is directed to write correspondence to the County of Brant requesting that all official correspondence be sent to the County of Brant Public Library Secretary Treasurer, which has been delegated to the CEO of the County of Brant Public Library. What correspondence? What are we talking about here?
Who wants to speak to that, Alice?
Through your worship to Councillor Pierce, I believe this was referring to, because I did receive the correspondence, that I had shared information with Councillor Bell as representative on the library board, rather than sending it directly through the CEO of the library.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. The next one is 8.2.5.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a long report. I'm going to focus in on 12.2.2 in this report, which is on page 1 of the report. It talks about the annual centralised housing waitlist update. And it just raises a concern, because on page 28 of that particular report, there's a graph there that shows that of the waiting list, 4% of the people that are on the waiting list come from the County of Brant. We pay 28% of the total cost. Now, those of you that were on council when we negotiated that particular agreement will know I was never very comfortable about it. And it continues to raise a concern, because over the last 3 or 4 years, as that joint shared social services agreement has come to pass, our contribution from the county has gone from about $2 million a year to over $5 million a year. And I really am uncomfortable that we are getting $5 million worth of value from that particular service. I know it's coming up for reconsideration, and I just would like to flag it to staff that it is time for us to step back and get a really good understanding of whether we're getting value for money from this arrangement.
Alison, you want to speak to that?
Thank you, Your Worship. To Councillor Bell, I have spoken to staff at the city about this, and essentially the agreement at this point is in holdover, so the terms are the same. We've made some minor amendments to account for strong mayor powers, because that was not contemplated in the original agreement. However, we have agreed that it's better that this be renegotiated under new councils, as we didn't want to do it in the election year. But absolutely, if there's anything specific like that, that's very useful for when we do begin those discussions in 2027.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, I think it's important that we step back and look to see what we get, how it serves our community, and whether what we pay is a fair contribution to that. And I have never seen a report that looks like that, at least in my time in council. So I would appreciate, as we move into that negotiation, whoever is on council at that time, that staff provide them with that data set that helps them, come to a negotiating position.
Councillor Pierce.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, through you, and thanks to Councillor Bell. I got a couple questions on that report myself, and that was one of them when you do that breakdown of the numbers again, back to the numbers. And speaking of numbers, just a quick comment on page 127 of the report. I guess it's page 5 of that report. When you look at those estimated approximate wait times, that's really scary when you think, the lowest wait time is 3 to 5 years, so and I don't think a lot of people can comprehend that, and then when you get to, non-senior applicants with no dependents, it's 8 to 12 years. And that's crazy. That's the only word I can think of to that. And it's nothing, I know we're not the only municipalities that are having that issue, but when you see those numbers, it's kind of scary to think that it's that long and we have that many people waiting for places like this. That's the second comment on that. And then so it's page, one second here, sorry. Page 146, 47. Bear with me. Sorry. So again, when it talks about the planned activities, 9.4, so it's page 12 of the report, it talks about planned activities. In the first paragraph, it says, as a result of the approved 2026 shared social services operating budget, 2 additional permanent CIC positions have been authorized, and recruitment activities are currently underway. The primary function of these positions will be to enhance the encampment outreach through the city of Brantford and expand services to the county of Brant. That's great. But on the very next page, when it talks about financial implications, it says there are no direct financial implications associated with this report. So that's kind of in contradiction. So I'm trying to understand, as a result of the approved budget, there's 2 additional permanent people, and yet there's no direct financial implications. I'm not sure how I can get, or if we can get clarification on that. I don't know.
I know we've talked about that before.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, it rings a bell, so. Allison, do you want to speak to that?
Through your worship to council, we can certainly get more clarification on that, and there is a report upcoming that may provide a little bit of clarification, but anything outstanding I can certainly ask for and bring back.
Thanks.
I think we've asked them that question, so it'll probably be on that report.
Okay.
Because I remember it coming up before. Do you have another one, Councillor Pierce? No?
Not on that one, but
Okay.
was 8.2.8 pulled as well?
I got 8.2.5 is next. Oh, that's the one we just did. 8.2.7. Who had that one? The Grand Erie Public. Okay, yep, yeah. Councillor Haley?
We talk about the wait list, but then what I didn't understand was page 121 of our package. It says, so you've got this huge, long wait list of many years, but applicants can also choose to stay in their unit and receive a temporary rent allowance if their landlord is willing to enter into an agreement. So that should really reduce the wait list. And I didn't know who I could ask about that.
Through your worship to Councillor Haley, so that is managed through city staff, through our agreement. So I can certainly get you the staff name and contact to follow up on that.
Okay, anything else for 8.2.5? Seeing none, we'll go on to 8.2.7, which is the Grand Erie Public Health. Who had that one? Councillor Miller?
Just in that one, and there's a request later on that we support a delegation at AMO on the matter of provincial versus municipal funding. And we talk about the current 75-25 funding model, and they're looking for restoration or review of that funding model. And I'm just wondering, do we know what that ratio's at now? Did they talk about that?
Councillor Bell?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, Dave. It should be 75-25. In 2022, it was 67-33. This year, it's 63-37. So it's a mile off where we should be. And this is just one more contributory factor. It's one more piece of downloading. And the driver for that is that the provincial government said they will increase budgets 1% per year. Now, if they only give 1% to make up the balance because we have to pay, it translates into 5% extra for each of the municipalities. So and it's just compounded over time.
It's not unlike ambulance budget, which is supposed to be 50-50. I think the last I heard it was at 44 for the province. So they haven't kept up with the inflation rates. And we did actually make a delegation on that a couple of years ago. But AMO did a report, I believe this is a year old, but they were saying that the provincial government is under contributing in their agreements with the municipalities to the tune of $5 billion a year. So it is a significant problem, and I don't think, and I'm glad the Grand Erie Public Health is dealing with that aspect, but I don't think we should ever take our foot off the gas on that, whether it's ambulance, whether it's public health, or whether it's any of the other agreements, because, yeah, we need the money just as they do, and they have a lot more revenue sources than we do with our regressive property taxes.
Any other questions for 8.2.7? No. Councillor Pierce?
Was 8.2.8 pulled as well?
No.
Can I just make a quick comment on 8.2.8? It's the Long Point region.
Sure.
There's a recognition, service award presentations. and Tom Hassick, Lee Brown, Marsh Management Committee Chair, 50 years. I think that's amazing, and I know Councillor Chambers is our rep back to them. I think that, you know, if I can put forth a thanks from the county of Brant, like that's amazing. Like that 50 years is definitely special.
Make a motion to, I can write a letter on behalf of council?
I think, yeah, I think that would be a good idea. Like that's service right there. That's awesome.
Councillor Coleman's your seconder. Can we have a vote just to make sure I have everyone's permission before I send a letter? All those in favor? Congratulations, yeah.
Yeah.
50 years is a long time.
That's awesome.
Okay, 8.2.11. That's the Northeastern Manitoulin. Who posted?
I thought that was quite interesting. They have identified that possibly the reason that their roads are degrading faster than they should is that there's a lighter oil being used in the mix. Now, I asked our staff, they hadn't heard, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think that's what you said. So Councillor Haley and I will be heading to some tomorrow, so we'll endeavor to find somebody from Northeastern Manitoulin and see if we can't ask about that. But I know we've talked about it at the last few meetings about the seemingly the weather, you know, has been identified as being hard on the roads, and we know they're hard on the roads, but yeah, maybe there is something else. So definitely something maybe we should look into, and maybe there's better mixes out there that can help us keep our roads going for a little bit longer. Anything helps. So just thought it was a very interesting piece of information from Manitoulin.
Anybody else want to speak to 8.2.11? Nope. We're going to go to 8.2.14, and that's Councillor Haley. Oh, yeah.
Thank you, through you. I don't know the proper procedure of supporting these two letters, and I don't know if we've already put out the statement about our concern of the reduction in conservation authorities. So I maybe you've done it already. So that's eight. Already done it. Okay. So then the next one too was this horrendous series of killings of women in Renfrew County, and this is a statement that they brought at the very bottom of the page there. Declare that it's an epidemic, and so I didn't know if we could support this.
I think we have supported it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Councillor Oakley, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I believe Councillor Kyle brought forward the resolution in November 2023. 2023, that we are, to call on the government to recognize it as an epidemic, and I believe all of the active clauses in here were within that.
Thank you.
That's all of them then, so we have to vote on all the ones that were pulled. 8.2.2, 8.2.5, 8.2.7, 8.2.8, 8.2.11, 8.2.14, and 8.2.15. No. No, I can't. So we're going to call the vote. We're going to call the vote on all the ones we just spoke to. All those in favor? Oh my goodness, thank you. Committee reports, Administration and Operations, Councillor Howes, that's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Kyle that the Administration and Operations Committee report and minutes of April 21st, 2026 be approved, noting that there are 19 recommendations.
Are there any questions to Councillor Howes on his report? Seeing none, all those in favor to receive the report? Thank you. Okay, 10.1, which is the update on the social services budget, is that right? Okay. Okay, let's get it on the floor. There's no presentation. Yeah, Councillor Bell, Councillor Kyle. Any questions? Councillor Bell?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it just follows on from my earlier conversation about the social services budget, that I think as we go in to renegotiate our agreement with the city, that we need to be more precise about what happens when we get into the situation we found ourselves in this year, where the Social Services Committee voted to support an activity, only for the city to not support it, and then for the mayor to reinstate part of it. It is very messy, and I think we need to have some clarity about that. And I think if we're to play a reasonable role in the Social Services Committee, I want to feel comfortable that when collectively we say this is what we should do, that the voice is heard and followed through.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and I think it's a good idea that it become the business of the next council, because I think that we've played our cards and we've played them more than once. So it needs to be new. It needs to have different players, and I think that's good that we're going to negotiate into the next term, because it's frustrating to ask and ask and ask and nothing happens. So maybe the new people can ask in a nicer way than I did. Communications, we have to call the vote, sorry. Any other comments before we call the vote? All those in favor of just receiving, noting that we did talk about it earlier in the agenda, which takes us to number 11.1, which is the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing notification letter. Can I get someone to put it on the floor for me, please? Councillor Pearson, Councillor Coleman. Any questions for that? For the housing bill? No? Okay, all those in favor of receiving it? Opposed? Carried. 11.2, which is the Ministry of, the stormwater fees. Who's here to speak to that? Let's get on the floor first, please. Councillor Kyle and Councillor Haley. Is there anyone here to speak to that, or is it just for questions? Just for communications? Any questions? Councillor Miller?
I don't think it's legislation just yet, Mr. Mayor, but I know staff is working on that, so I think I'm going to ask if staff are aware of this potential legislation coming through regarding farmland.
David?
So through the mayor to Councillor Miller, yes, we are aware, excuse me. And what we're completing and starting this year is our stormwater funding strategy. So this legislation will take that into consideration when we're developing options for that, noting that it's likely going to be in place before we come to a conclusion with those kinds of engagements. So we're coordinating that, and there was some discussion earlier this week about how municipal drains play into that. Does it impact municipal drains, et cetera? So.
Okay, I should say agriculture and woodlots, I think they wanted to exclude, whether they were part of a municipal drain or not. I think that's what I understand, but I guess we'll see as we go along.
Any other questions? Call the vote to receive. Okay. 11.3, which is the Grand Area Board of Health. Get on the floor, please. Councillor Bell and Councillor Oakley. Adam's here to speak to that. Are there any questions? Councillor Miller?
Do we need to say we support it?
Yeah.
We support it? Is that part of the resolution, perhaps?
Adam?
Oh, through your worship to council, I understand there's a request here. We certainly have reviewed this, and the government relations specialist can handle any actionable items from the county side of things as council's direction towards what we'd like to do with this.
Councillor Bell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are 4 municipalities in that support Grand Area Public Health. So what Dr. Mellenfund is asking for is a coordinated effort, and so I would be comfortable leaving it to Adam to coordinate that with his counterparts in the other 3 municipalities. As long as somebody gets us on the roster to speak to Sylvia Jones, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, Councillor Oakley?
Mr. Mayor, I was just curious, given the request, if we have anyone currently slated to be going to that conference to represent the county as part of that delegation.
I don't know. I don't know who's going.
Through your worship to council, last I checked, there was no one registered from council going to AMO.
Councillor Oakley?
It doesn't need to be somebody from our council, as long as through coordination, as long as one of the 4 municipalities is represented, that I think will be enough.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Is that what you were going to say, Councillor Oakley? Sarda? Okay. Any other questions, Councillor Miller?
on Councillor Oakley's note, it should also be noted that we've asked for a delegation on behalf of social services because there were some issues there as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think what we'll do is get staff to sit down and we'll work, find out what's going on. If we need to send someone, we can send someone. It's not a problem. It's kind of early, so. Yeah, Dahlia's going. So if one of us have to go, that's okay too. Any questions? We'll make sure that we're represented though, Councillor Bell. Any other questions, concerns? All those in favor? The court security transportation grant update. Let's get it on the floor to talk about it. Councillor McAlpine and Councillor Kyle. Councillor Chambers, you want to speak to it?
I just need some clarification. I was under the impression that the court transportation costs and security were billed to the municipality where the court is situated. And I'm wondering why we're getting a grant back. And are we paying anything? What's the deal on that?
Cindy will know that.
Through the mayor to council, I believe that this would be to offset the transportation costs for OPP, not related to security costs. That is the city of Brantford's responsibility.
So it's not related to the prisoner, it's the cost of sending the force to the court?
It's the transportation piece.
Okay, I understand that now.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Opposed? 11.5, which is communications, it's a formal opposition to the proposed boundary adjustment and transfer of airport lands. Can we get it on the floor just to receive it? Councillor Pierce and Councillor Oakley? Yes, sir.
Can we receive it and just add it to, like the previous delegations tonight for that?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the best thing to do. Councillor Miller?
I was going to suggest that as well, but I'd like to speak to it when I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say, Grand River Cab, Mr. Teves, I thought that was a really well-written letter. He took it from a high viewpoint, the 20,000 foot. But it's interesting because, I mean, tonight we're focused on, I know the residents there, they have the biggest impact, but the impacts go wider than that. And I think this letter was just a good example of that, where he talks about, the erosion of the tax base and so whatnot. And I know when we did the previous annexation, as Councillor Chambers was talking about earlier, when we lost that section of county, Grand River Cab, and I think the other Paris Taxi as well, they lost their ability to service those, right? So there was an impact to them, and I think Grand River Cab, again, they obviously aren't aware of maybe what's being discussed, as we learned tonight. Nobody in the public should be aware, so they're not really sure what they're dealing with, but they do have concerns about losing more potential customers to serve. So I'm glad they are putting their concerns before anything is brought out. At the same time, I wanted to ask, we at the county, we do a lot of courier services, whether it's packages to counselors or staff, water samples, things like that. Do we share that around, or do we just use one outfit to do those runs? And I'm asking because I don't know if that's something we could share with Grand River Cab or any of the other cab companies. And I ask that because I know Grand River Cab has been a business presence in the community for a long, long time. So I guess I'm asking on their behalf.
Clerk? Do you know how we make those decisions, Allison? Heather Boyd, you're number 3 on the list, but I thought that these two would know. Sorry.
That has been a long-standing contract. We haven't gone to public procurement for that for various reasons, but we could go back to a public procurement. I wouldn't suggest that we divvy out the work per se, because we do need to make sure that the materials do make it to where they need to go. Quite often, there's financial documents and confidential materials that are going through that courier. So it's not something we could just spread around. But we have talked in the past about maybe going to another procurement process, but it would be competitive and it would be under the same rules as our policy now, which doesn't eliminate anyone who's not local and all those other things that we try to work through.
Yeah, I appreciate the answer, Heather. It is a contract, as you say, and, but I do think it's maybe not a bad idea to take it to market every so often, whether it's this or any other contract we sign. So thank you for the answer.
Any other questions? Call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Takes us to the resolutions. 12.1, can I get it on the floor, please, for the lupus? Councillor Pierce, looking for a seconder. Councillor Kyle, any opposition to that for the proclamation for lupus? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Lucy Marco, Grand River Council on Aging, to get it on the floor, please. Councillor Bell, Councillor Kyle, any questions or concerns about the Council on Aging proclamation? All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Takes us to number 13, which is other business. Does anyone have any other business? And followed up by councillors' updates. Is there anything people want? Everyone? Okay. Councillor Pierce and then Councillor Chambers.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So just very quickly, it was discussed at the previous Police Service Board, or I guess it's the Brant County Detachment Board, and again today, and I'm wondering, I guess I don't know if I need a notice of motion or whatever, but long story short, Crime Stoppers is doing a golf tournament as a fundraiser, and we all know Crime Stoppers it's not funded per se, it's a nonprofit, and this is they're looking to raise $10,000 through this golf tournament for Crime Stoppers, and they have different levels of sponsorship, and the one level of sponsorship, it's a tournament sponsorship, and it's $1,000 to be one of the sponsors, and with that it'd be your business logo and acknowledgement on the website and stuff like that, which is great to have that on there, but I would like to put forth that us as a council of the County of Brant support this, and see if there's a way to donate $1,000 to the Crime Stoppers golf tournament to be a tournament sponsor. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know whether I can do that tonight or whether I have to do a notice of motion and bring it back. Not sure.
I think you have to bring it back.
Okay, well, I'd like to do a notice of motion then that I will be bringing this back at the next council meeting.
How much did the OPP board put in?
1,000.
1,000?
Yeah.
What's the time?
It's on July the 24th.
Do we have time to bring it back? Yeah?
Yes.
Lots of time,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
So if I could just get that on the next possible council, that would be great.
Yep, Councillor Chambers?
Yes, I just, going back to what I said at the beginning of the meeting, we had a new event in the county, the volunteer fair, I guess is what it was called. I'm just wondering if staff could outline to the council how that went and maybe whether it's going to be an annual event and give you an opportunity to explain the volunteer fair.
So through your worship to Councillor Chambers, as part of our community partnership program, we initiated our first volunteer fair held on April 23rd at the BSC Lafarge Hall. Currently we have 27 of our community partners already signed up, and five of which are service clubs, and there's another 33 that we're working with right now. 17 of them, the community partners participated in the program and in the fair. It was super successful. 150 people came through, and all of the feedback from the participating community partners was great. Interestingly, of the 17 community partners participating, most of them got between 10 and 15 volunteers signed up that night. So it was super successful, but that would also indicate that some of the volunteers signed up for multiple clubs. And we had diverse age groups, right from students through seniors signing up. So it was a super successful event. And we want to hold this thing annually, but the interesting thing is that based on the success, we think that we could probably only do about 20 clubs in any one event because it's overwhelming even for the community, volunteers looking to volunteer. So for a first go at it, it was great, and we get some really great success, and I think we'll tweak the program. We definitely want to commit to at least doing one a year and potentially getting 20 of our groups involved. And if there's more interest on an annual basis, we might hold a couple. So, but yeah, it's a really great success on the community partnership program. And I know we spent a lot of time scrubbing the program and getting it to where we want it to be, but I think that's a really good success story in our first year.
Mr. Bell?
Yeah, just in reply to Councillor Chambers, I went along to that event and I was actually really, really pleased. The last event I went to in the very same room, I think we were talking about the CPPS, and we had more staff than we had members of the public, but it was absolutely packed out with people, a lot of energy there. And what really pleased me a lot was the fact that there were groups not just from Paris, but there were groups from all over the county. And I just wondered how the various Lions clubs and the various Rotary clubs could compete against each other, but they seemed to be very comfortable being in the same room competing for the same volunteers.
Councillor Miller and Councillor
Well, I'll wait till we're done with that update. Then I'll go on the next update.
I think, Robert, you finished with that?
Unless people want to hear about my batting cage experience.
We should probably do that in camera.
We'll go to Councillor Miller and then Councillor Coleman.
I want to ask if maybe staff could give us an update on the Veterans Walkway / Crosswalk. We're end of April, May is on this Friday. So I just wondered if we could get an update on where we are with that.
So through the mayor to Councillor Miller, we're well on the way. So we have draft designs that we're circulating. We're about to be circulating to the legions. We've met with all the legions. We're in the process of getting pricing. The location is going to vary a bit, whether it's on a sidewalk or the roadway, depending on the community and the location, and again, the local legion's preference. But we're hoping to have an information report to council kind of detailing the design, celebrate it in May or June of this year. And, we'll be well prepared for when the 100th anniversary and also Remembrance Day itself.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad it's progressing. So thank you. And people are asking, just so you know.
And that was Burford, St. George, and Paris, right?
Yeah.
And Oakland as well.
Oakland as
yeah.
well. Perfect. Okay, great. Thank you for that. Who was next? Councillor Coleman was next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, I know this is a ward thing too, but I just want to put a plug in for Mount Pleasant Fire Department. Their annual pancake breakfast is this Sunday, and that's a good event, and it supports the local, and their money goes back into the community. So just putting a plug in for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Haley.
I just needed to clarify, I have people that are asking me about Forest Road, through you to Dave. I have people asking me about Forest Road, Coburn, Pleasant Ridge, stoplight, stop sign. They're just asking, and I think it is in the plans.
Through the mayor to Councillor Haley. Yes, so that work will be starting this year, and signals will be installed on Forest Road and Colburn Street this year. We have that work designed. We're just waiting for the contractor to mobilize. So we are aware and happy to share that that's getting done.
Anybody else have anything else they want people to know? I mentioned this afternoon to someone that the OPP presence in St. George is up. I've seen police everywhere. I hope not because they need to be there, but I hope just because it's our turn to see the police at the OPP. And I was glad to see them. They were during the day, during the evening, and a lot of them, so maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe we're in trouble in St. George and I didn't know it. But there's been a lot of OPP presence in St. George, and I appreciate it. Okay, with that, we're going to go in camera, and Councillor Coleman's going to take us there.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, a move by myself, second by Councillor Bell, that the County of Brant Council convene in camera to discuss 3.239 2C, proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land, E, litigation or pending litigation, and F, advise that it is subject to solicitor-client privilege, RPT-0134-2677 Tom Brown Drive, OLT, appeal for minor variance application, finalization of sale, portion of 67 Woodsey Ave to Pine Best Homes and St. George Co-op Housing Project, verbal update. Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor? We're going to go in camera. We'll take just the slightest bit of a break, 2 minutes, just to do whatever we need to do, and we'll go. Session there, Gary. Yeah? Okay, we're back in open session. There's nothing to ratify. 16 bylaws. Councillor Pierce, you have those.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chambers, that bylaws 49-26 and 52-26 to 60-26 be read a first time.
All those in favor of the first reading of the bylaws? If you can do it again for me, Councillor Pierce.
Certainly. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chambers, that bylaws 49-26 and 52-26 to 60-26 be read a second time and all preambles and clauses be adopted.
Thank you. Are there any questions to the second reading of the bylaws? Seeing none, all those in favor to receive the second reading of the bylaws? If you could do it one more time, please,
I
Councillor
shall.
Pierce.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Chambers, that bylaws 49-26 and 52-26 to 60-26 be read a third time, passed, signed, and executed.
All those in favor of receiving the third reading of the bylaws? Everybody's good, thank you. Takes to number 17, which is the next meeting, which is May the 12th at 6 o'clock. And now is there anything else for the betterment of the County of Brant? We're getting giggly. All those, okay. So I need someone to adjourn the meeting. Councillor Haley's going to adjourn the meeting.